Number 8. The North Carolina Shadow. Date unknown, time unknown. Central North Carolina, United States. A suburban neighborhood that seemed peaceful on the surface was experiencing something deeply unsettling. The homeowner's neighbors had recently moved in and called police 3 times in just 3 weeks, reporting mysterious damage to their property. But it wasn't just the neighbors experiencing strange activity. The homeowner's garden decorations were being scattered across their yard by an unknown force, including a heavy 60-pound cement turtle that had been moved from its original position. The White House visible in the security camera footage had recently been burglarized, though no one could determine if these incidents were connected.
Hearing the craziest noises. Listen. I gotta check this out. What the fuck? Ruby, shut up, Ruby. Where the fuck did it go? What the fuck? Oh my god. Hello? Is anyone there? What the fuck? Oh my god. Holy shit. Thought I heard those noises again.
I heard them last night.
I didn't see anything, but I wanted to just look.
Probably just an animal or something.
Yeah. Keep seeing all those cats.
The homeowner only discovered what had been lurking near their property when they reviewed their security camera footage days later. Watch the footage carefully. Around the 2:09 mark, something appears on the road. A white figure moves at an unnatural, impossible speed across the frame before disappearing completely into thin air. The movement is too fast, too fluid to be human. The shape defies explanation. Whatever this thing is, it's not of this world. The homeowner stated they had no idea what this creature was as the footage remained too dark and blurry to make out any clear details. They never saw or heard anything that night. They only discovered this entity when reviewing the recording later, long after it had vanished into the darkness. They've since invested in higher quality security cameras, hoping that if this thing ever returns, they'll finally capture a clear image of what's been haunting their neighborhood. But the question remains, what was this creature and why was it there? Number 7. The Belgian incinerator. March 23, 2024, approximately 10 p.m., as Belgium. 2 urban explorers decided to investigate an abandoned train station where old trains still sit rusting on forgotten tracks. What started as a casual Saturday night exploration quickly transformed into an encounter that would haunt them forever.
Daar staat dus een verlaten trein. We staan nu bij een verlaten treingebouw. En daarachter, je kan het niet zien op de camera, maar daar staat ook een raar gebouw. Maar er komt kankerenge geluid vandaan.
We wachten tot ze weer iets afspelen, nu hoor je niks.
Nou, ik denk niet dat je het hoort op de camera, maar je hoort echt hele duistere...
Oh, hier hoor je het weer.
En dan hoor je opeens kerkklokken en zo. Wat de fuck is hier gaande? Nou, nu is het weer stil. Toevallig net als ik mijn camera pak. En eigenlijk willen we dus die trein in. Maar er staan dus ook camera's en zo. We'll keep you up to date, man. What the fuck, ouwe? Wat is... Ik zit kanker.
Upon arrival, they immediately heard strange noises echoing from the premises. At first, they thought it might be a distant rock concert due to the heavy thuds reverberating through the night air. But after climbing the fence and venturing deeper into the property, they realized the sound was coming from much closer. A dark warehouse looming behind the trains. What initially sounded like music transformed into something far more sinister. Deep, dark, ambient noises that seemed to evoke pure malevolence. These weren't normal sounds. This was something else entirely. Something wrong.
Gast, er lopen daar mensen in de trein.
Ze hebben helmen op.
What the fuck gebeurt daar? Er lopen gewoon mensen in die trein en we horen kankerenge muziek. Zullen we dichterbij?
As they crouched in the shadows observing the scene, they noticed people walking inside one of the trains. These individuals wore blue overalls, the kind workers wear, and carried powerful flashlights through the darkness. The explorers watched in growing terror as these workers exited the train and headed directly toward the warehouse, disappearing inside. Intrigued but terrified, the explorers decided to investigate further, carefully positioning themselves to get a better view of the mysterious warehouse. All the windows were dark. There was no visible sign of activity, but a faint glimmer of light emanated from beneath the large sliding door, and those terrible sounds continued without pause. For nearly 40 minutes, they listened to the disturbing cacophony emanating from inside. There were loud thuds like heavy metal objects colliding with tremendous force. The dark, eerie, ambient noise constantly changed tones and frequencies, creating an atmosphere of absolute dread. The sound seemed almost alive, pulsing and shifting, like some malevolent entity breathing in the darkness.
Gast. Wat de fuck gebeurt hier? What the fuck?
Wauw. Deze komt terug.
Hier. Filmen.
Then they heard something that defies all description. A sound like a powerful weapon starting up, or perhaps a jet engine igniting. A mechanical roar that seemed to come from the depths of hell itself. This peculiar sound was followed by a resounding thud that shook the ground beneath their feet. Moments later, the flashlights started moving in their direction. The workers had detected their presence. The explorers ran back to their cars in absolute terror, their hearts pounding. After a brief, panicked discussion, they made a decision that could have cost them their lives. They decided to make one final attempt to understand what was happening in that warehouse. Approaching the premises again, they immediately noticed something disturbing. All sound had ceased. The warehouse had gone completely silent. Proceeding with extreme caution, they arrived at the building to find the faint glimmer of light beneath the sliding door had vanished. The workers, the lights, the sounds, everything had disappeared as if it had never existed. They walked around the entire warehouse through dirt, mud, and rusted train tracks, but found nothing. No entrance, no exit, no sign of the workers. It was as if the building had swallowed them whole.
Gast, ik wil kijken, ouwe. Ik moet weten wat er is. Ik moet het weten.
Niemand gaat er gaven met het verloren eigenlijk.
Before leaving, they encountered two ladies cleaning dishes in a small building, about 500 to 750 meters from the warehouse. When asked about the terrifying sounds from the train tracks, the ladies claimed they didn't know what sounds they were talking about. They insisted no one worked at the abandoned train station and warned that it was dangerous to go there. Their responses seemed evasive, rehearsed, as if they were hiding something. Later analysis by experts online suggested this was likely a high-power incinerator being operated inside the maintenance hall, the type often used by criminal organizations for disposal jobs. The growling jet engine-like sound comes from forcing oxygen into a pressure chamber at extreme rates, creating temperatures reaching 3,300 to 3,700 degrees Fahrenheit. Hot enough to incinerate human remains, leaving almost no trace. The location was perfect for such illegal operations. Out of sight, away from residential areas, with a highway nearby to mask the sounds. The blue overalls, the late-night activity, the evasive locals, it all pointed to something deeply criminal. The explorers were lucky they escaped when they did. If they had been discovered, they might have become the next thing incinerated in that warehouse. Number 6. The Hate Crime Dashcam. July 31st, 2024, 12:15 a.m., Upper East Side, Manhattan, New York City, specifically near East 65th Street and Lexington Avenue. A Muslim Uber driver's dash cam captured a shocking anti-Muslim hate crime that would lead to serious criminal charges and spark nationwide outrage. 45-year-old Shohel Mahmoud was completing a routine ride for two passengers. 23-year-old Jennifer Gilbo, a former Manhattan College graduate and public relations worker, and her friend. The ride had been unremarkable. The women chatted with each other and looked at their phones, while Mahmoud drove them uptown and across Central Park toward the east side. Mahmoud had not spoken to the women since picking them up. He was simply doing his job, navigating the late-night streets of Manhattan. When his car stopped at a red light at 65th Street and Lexington Avenue, Mahmoud began quietly praying in Arabic, wearing an earbud in his right ear and looking peacefully out the windshield. It was a religious practice he had done countless times before during his years as an Uber driver. But this time something went terribly wrong. Without any warning, Jennifer Gilbolt burst into a wild-eyed rage. She lunged forward from the back seat with a can of pepper spray and blasted Mahmoud directly in the face. The video, which quickly went viral across the internet, shows Gilbolt wearing a short, light-colored spaghetti strap dress, suddenly becoming ferocious as she launches her brutal assault. But the pepper spray blast itself wasn't the end of the attack. Gilbolt then grabbed Mahmoud's arm with both hands, wrestling with him for nearly 7 seconds as he struggled to escape. Her visible rage and substantial strength are a stark contrast to her stylish earring, thin gold necklace, and swinging blonde ponytail. Mahmoud, blinded by the burning pepper spray and in excruciating pain, unbuckled his seatbelt and tried to escape through the driver's side door. But he realized his car was still in drive and beginning to roll into traffic. He climbed back in to put the car in park, and the moment he did, Gilbolt attacked again, pepper spraying him a second time and attempting to wrestle control of the vehicle. Gilbo's friend can be heard in the video, completely shocked, repeatedly yelling, Jen, what the fuck? What are you doing?" The friend appeared horrified by the unprovoked attack, trying to pull Gilbolt back.
Jen, what the? Jen, what the? Get him out of this.
What
Get him out.
What
Get
are you
him
doing?
out.
What are
Get
you doing?
him out.
What are
Jen,
you doing?
what? Jen, what?
What are you doing?
What? Get him out. Why? Why did you do that? Jen, why the f did you just do that? Why did you just do that, Jen? Okay. Why did you just do that? What the? Okay. Take your stuff. Let's go. We have to go.
We have to go.
Come on. We have to go.
When Gilbo's friend asked why she had done this, Gilbo's response was chilling. According to Mahmoud and court documents, citing surveillance footage, she said, "He's brown," referring to his Arab complexion. The attack was purely motivated by racism and religious hatred. Mahmoud immediately called 911, suffering from painful burns to his face, impaired vision in his right eye, and injuries to his neck, back, and shoulder. Gilbolt was arrested at the scene and initially charged by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg with 1 count each of second-degree assault as a hate crime, third-degree assault as a hate crime, and second-degree aggravated harassment, charges that carried up to 15 years in prison. DA Bragg stated, "Jennifer Gilbolt senselessly assaulted a Muslim Uber driver while he was just doing his job. The victim is a hard-working New Yorker who should not have to face this type of hate because of his identity. Everyone is welcome to live and work in Manhattan. However, In a controversial turn of events that sparked public outrage, Gilboa struck a plea deal in April 2025. She pleaded guilty to 1 felony count of aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree. Mahmoud, displaying extraordinary grace and forgiveness, told reporters, "She's almost my kid's age. After all, I believe in the judgment day. I have to stand in front of my God. That's the reason why I forgive her. If I forgive her, God will forgive me." Under the terms of the plea deal, if Gilboa as Massachusetts native with no prior criminal record completes her court-mandated community service, therapy, anti-bias programming, and alcohol abuse programs, her felony charge will be reduced to the non-criminal offense of harassment in the 2nd degree. She will avoid prison entirely and have no felony on her permanent record. Her employment at Pagan Communications, a public relations firm, was terminated following the incident. The case continues to spark intense debate about justice, accountability, and whether hate crimes receive adequate punishment in the American legal system. Number 5. Followed home from Walmart. Date unknown, late night, time unknown. Location undisclosed, United States. A Ring doorbell camera captured the terrifying moment a woman realized she had been followed home from Walmart by a complete stranger. The footage begins shortly after the homeowner arrived home from her shopping trip. A man approaches her front door with deliberate, purposeful steps, but he doesn't knock. He doesn't ring the bell. Instead, he begins peering through the windows on each side of the door, his face pressed close to the glass. The homeowner had left her blinds partially open, a decision she now regrets, giving him a clear, unobstructed view inside her home. The homeowner later confirmed a disturbing detail. He didn't leave anything at the door. He wasn't delivering a package. He wasn't looking for help. He was simply peeping into her house, studying the interior layout, examining her private space. You can see him methodically looking left and right through the windows, his eyes scanning every visible detail. The way he lingers at each window, the deliberate way he examines her home. It's abundantly clear this wasn't a case of the wrong address or someone lost looking for directions. This was calculated surveillance by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. After spending several disturbing moments at her door, thoroughly examining her home's interior and learning the layout of her private space, he finally walks away into the darkness, disappearing as mysteriously as he arrived. The woman immediately checked her entire front porch area to ensure he hadn't left anything behind. No tracking devices, no markers for future criminals, nothing. She found nothing visible. But the psychological damage was done. The fact that he followed her home from Walmart, tracking her vehicle through the streets, and then carefully surveilled her house, suggests he may have been planning something far more sinister. Was this reconnaissance for a future break-in? Was he planning to return when she wasn't home? Or worse, was he planning to return when she was? She immediately filed a police report, and the footage was shared online to warn others in the community. To this day, the man has never been identified. He remains out there somewhere, and the homeowner lives with the terrifying knowledge that a complete stranger knows exactly where she lives, what the inside of her home looks like, and potentially has plans to return. She's since upgraded her security system, installed additional cameras, and no longer shops alone at night. The psychological toll of being stalked and surveilled in what should be the safety of your own home is immeasurable. Number 4. The grandmother's return. Date unknown, time unknown. The Philippines. Specific location undisclosed. This home security camera footage was recorded shortly after the grandmother who had lived in this house for decades passed away. The family was reviewing their security footage for unrelated reasons when they noticed something that should have been impossible. Watch the top right corner of the screen carefully. A washing machine, which should be completely stationary, suddenly begins to move violently on its own. There's no one near it. No one touched it. The machine rocks back and forth with increasing intensity, as if being shaken by invisible hands. The movement is aggressive, deliberate, not the gentle vibration of a normal wash cycle. This is something else. Something unnatural. No earthquakes were reported in the area at this time. The machine wasn't even turned on, it was completely off when it began moving. The violent shaking continues for several seconds before finally stopping as abruptly as it started, returning to its normal stationary position as if nothing had happened. The family members believed this was the spirit of their recently deceased grandmother making her presence known to them. In Filipino culture, it's widely believed that the spirits of loved ones often linger in their homes after death, especially if they have unfinished business or want to send a message to their family. The grandmother had lived in that house for many years. It was her domain, her space, where she had raised her children and grandchildren. The timing, occurring so shortly after the grandmother's death, and the specific location in her home have convinced the family that this was no mechanical malfunction or natural occurrence. This was their grandmother, reaching out from beyond the grave, letting them know she was still there, still watching over them. The washing machine had never behaved this way before in all the years they owned it, and it has never behaved this way since this single isolated incident. The family keeps the footage as proof of the supernatural, as evidence that their grandmother's spirit remains in the house she loved, refusing to leave the family she cherished. Some viewers suggest it could have been a power surge or mechanical issue, but the family knows the truth. Their grandmother came back to say goodbye one final time. Number 3, the crawling intruder. Date unknown, time unknown, location undisclosed, United States. A neighbor's security camera captured footage of a home invasion that redefines the word terrifying. Not because of what was stolen, but because of how the intruder moved through the house. The video shows an intruder entering the kitchen, but he's not standing upright like you would expect from a typical burglar. Instead, he's crawling on his knees, moving slowly and deliberately through the space like some kind of predator stalking its prey. Most people expect a robber to be standing up, moving quickly to grab valuables and escape. But this person knows exactly what he's doing. This is a professional. By crawling, the intruder is accomplishing multiple tactical advantages. First, he's staying below the sight lines of anyone who might be upstairs or might come out to investigate strange noises. There are numerous blind spots in that kitchen, and he's expertly navigating them, staying out of view from the stairwell and bedroom doorways. If someone woke up and glanced down the hallway, they likely wouldn't see him at this low height. But there's an even more sinister reason for this crawling technique. Some residential alarm systems are calibrated to not trigger when homeowners have pets. They're designed to ignore movement at lower heights, to prevent false alarms from dogs and cats moving around the house. By crawling at this specific height, this burglar is potentially bypassing the home's security system entirely. The alarm system thinks he's just the family dog or cat moving around in the middle of the night. Watch how methodically he searches through cabinets and drawers, never once standing up. He's patient, he's careful. He's clearly done this before. This isn't someone desperate for quick cash. This is someone with experience, someone who has studied home security systems and knows exactly how to defeat them. The way he moves is unsettling on a primal level. There's something deeply wrong about watching a grown man crawl through a house like this. It's unnatural, it's predatory, it triggers some ancient fear response in our brains that screams danger. Some viewers have speculated he might be on drugs, given the bizarre behavior, but experts disagree. This is calculated. This is professional technique. He's likely searching for something specific and valuable. Once he finds what he's looking for, he'll probably stand up, grab it, and run out of the house as quickly as possible. But until then, he remains in this disturbing crawling position, moving through the house like a spider. The homeowner reported the break-in and hopes to recover their stolen items, but the professional nature of this invasion suggests the robber knew exactly what he was looking for and where to find it. This was targeted. This was planned. And the fact that someone with this level of expertise exists, prowling through neighborhoods in the dead of night, is absolutely terrifying. Who knows how many other houses he's successfully robbed using this exact same technique, never once triggering an alarm, never once being seen? Number 2. The backyard jogger. Date unknown, time unknown, location undisclosed, United States. A homeowner reviewed their backyard security camera footage and discovered something that turned their blood cold. The footage shows a figure running at high speed across the backyard. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary jogger, perhaps someone exercising in the neighborhood. But there's one massive, disturbing problem. Why would someone be jogging through a private backyard? This isn't a public park. This isn't a jogging trail. This is someone's private property, and this person is trespassing, running at full speed through the yard as if they have every right to be there. Upon closer examination, several details emerge that make this even more unsettling. The figure appears to be wearing a tracksuit that's almost exactly the same color as the white fence surrounding the property. White fence, white tracksuit, white running shoes. The color coordination seems too deliberate to be mere coincidence. This person dressed to blend in with the surroundings. Why would someone wear clothing specifically chosen to camouflage themselves with a residential fence? Was this person casing the property, studying the layout, looking for vulnerabilities? Were they testing the homeowner's response time? Seeing if anyone would notice them, if security cameras would catch them, if dogs would bark? This could be reconnaissance for a future break-in, where the intruder wanted to learn the property's layout without drawing attention. Or was this truly just a confused jogger who made a terrible navigation error? It seems unlikely. The speed, the confidence, the deliberate route. This person knew where they were going. They weren't lost. They were running through this backyard for a reason. The homeowner posted the footage online, hoping someone in the community might recognize this person and provide answers. But the question remains, what was this person doing running at full speed through a private backyard, dressed in camouflage colors, in the middle of the day or night? The possibilities are all disturbing. Best case scenario, it's an incredibly rude trespasser. Worst case scenario, it's someone planning something far more sinister, using jogging as a cover to surveil private properties without raising suspicion. Either way, someone ran through this backyard uninvited, and the homeowner still has no idea who they were or what they wanted. Number 1. The wall knocker. Date unknown, approximately 2 months duration, location undisclosed, United States. For 2 months straight, a homeowner experienced something that defied all logical explanation. Mysterious knocking sounds emanating from inside their walls. The knocking wasn't subtle, it was loud, rhythmic, deliberate, as if someone or something was trapped inside the walls, desperately trying to communicate or escape. The homeowner recorded this particular instance while on their way to school, but the knocking had been occurring for weeks at this point, always following the same pattern, always at unpredictable times. The neighborhood context makes this even more mysterious. Everyone's houses are separated, detached structures with their own walls. Everyone around them in the neighborhood leaves during the day to go to work, and the neighbors don't know this family well. There's no one nearby who would be playing a prank. There's no construction happening. There are no logical explanations. But the knocking continued day after day, week after week, for 2 solid months. And then there were the voices. The homeowner reported hearing someone call their name clearly, distinctly, as if someone in the house was trying to get their attention. They would come out of their room and ask their mother if she had called them. Their mother would say no. They would ask their grandmother, their boyfriend. Everyone in the house, everyone said no. No one had called their name, but the homeowner had heard it, clear as day, as if someone was standing right next to them. That's when they knew something deeply wrong was happening in that house. This wasn't imagination. This wasn't auditory hallucination. This was something else, something paranormal. In many cultures and paranormal traditions, there's a terrifying belief about knocking. If something knocks at your door and you open it and no one is there, you've just let the ghost or entity into your home. You've given it permission to enter. You've invited it in. The homeowner mentioned this old superstition, saying they stopped answering the door when they didn't see anyone there through the window, but they'd never experienced knocking from inside the walls before. The knocking inside the walls is particularly terrifying because walls are solid barriers. There shouldn't be anything inside them capable of making these sounds. The sounds were too rhythmic, too purposeful to be settling foundations or temperature changes, causing expansion and contraction. This was deliberate. This was intentional. This sounded like someone or something knocking to be let out. For 2 months, the family lived with this constant, unexplained phenomenon. Then, as mysteriously as it started, the knocking stopped. No explanation, no resolution, just silence. The entity, whatever it was, had finished whatever it was trying to communicate or accomplish. To this day, the homeowner has no answers. They don't know what was in their walls. They don't know if it was paranormal or if there's some rational explanation they simply never discovered. But they lived through 2 months of being haunted by something that should not exist. Something that knocked from inside solid walls. Something that called their name when no one was there. And that experience will stay with them forever. A constant reminder that some things in this world cannot be explained by logic or reason alone.